Okay, it's first edition of the Pantheon podcast, which we don't have a name of. I am the co-host, Brad. Joining me is Andrew. Andrew, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and why we're hyped about Pantheon?
Hey guys, yeah, sure. Let me start off by saying that I've played a lot of MMOs. I've had a lot of experience with MMOs. It all really started, I guess, with World of Warcraft.
Same here.
Yeah, that's where it kind of launched. I know I would go over to your place and see you play World of Warcraft a lot.
Hmm.
Um, and that was like my first, I guess, glimpse of an MMO.
Right, your introduction to MMOs.
Yeah. Um, And then I played World of Warcraft for a while. I never really stuck to it though. It'd always just be here and there. I'd always get an itch to play it. But I know after World of Warcraft, we tried a bunch of other MMOs looking for that, that fix that we need,
Right.
and never really found it. I mean, we went through a lot of them: Warhammer Online, Ion, Arcade. All the free MMOs out there. I mean, there's just a bunch of them.
Right.
And then yeah, I guess I kind of picky when it comes to MMOs. I'm looking for something specific, something that will hold my interest for a long time. I know not every MMO is perfect; they all have their flaws. But I guess you just got to weigh out the pros and cons of each. But out of all the MMOs I have played, there's not a single one that really stuck so far. And I think Pantheon might be that MMO though, after everything I've seen.
I think Pantheon might be that MMO as well. I mean, when I first started out, pretty much hardcore on World of Warcraft. That was the first one that got me in. But I played a little bit of EverQuest and Dark Age of Camelot. But the one that I spent all my time in was World of Warcraft. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really interested in Pantheon just because of all the social dynamics that they're bringing back. I mean, the original World of Warcraft had all of those social dynamics where you had to solve all these problems by interacting with everybody else, right? You know, and now everything's just click a button and you get into a group or whatever, and there's no real actual player interaction.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing that's pushing Pantheon above every other MMO right now, is that they're all just kind of copying or cascading off of WoW, and they're not really bringing it back to the roots, which is what I think I'm looking most forward to with Pantheon. What about you?
Yeah. Well, as in like what I am looking forward toward.
Yeah, what makes you, I guess, most interested in Pantheon? I know it's definitely the social things is for both of us. We just really like
the social aspects. Having to group up with people and actually having to talk. I know a lot of MMOs we played that just wasn't happening. You know, you'd go get into a game and you'd try to invite someone to a party, a random person. They would decline it. They would just ignore you. Or even if you do get in a party, they still don't say anything.
Right.
And you just keep talking to them and they just don't respond. But it's because that in games like World of Warcraft or any of the older or kind of the newer ones, there's no need for that social aspect anymore.
Yeah, there isn't.
Followable.
I mean, it's because they introduce all these tools that solve all these social problems, and that's what they call them, is these social problems, where you don't have to go out and find a group anymore by talking and communicating with people. You just click a button and it throws you into a group, and the game does everything for you instead of actually having to take it into your own hands and interact with everybody. And that's exactly what an MMO is all about at its roots. It's about being online with a bunch of other people and making connections or forming some type of group, and that leads to all sorts of things. And that's really what a lot of the experiences come from. At least the experiences that you remember, they all come from meeting with people and having those shared experiences.
Right, exactly. Another thing is they're bringing back a lot of old school mechanics from EverQuest, but they're kind of just updating it, making it more modern, making it more obviously visually appealing. The graphics are looking fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I know I played a little bit of EverQuest and some of the other older MMOs, but one thing that really kind of stopped me from getting any farther with them was just they were just an eyesore.
Right, and you played them.
Um,
You played them recently. You
yeah, I
revisited
was
them
more
recently,
recent.
right?
Yeah, I didn't actually play EverQuest until I think the first time I played it was maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Because it was free, and I was like, hey, I'll try it out, see what it's about. Um, I know it's definitely not the same experience as it was when it first released. They did a lot of quality of life changes and a lot of different stuff to it,
Yeah,
but
back in the
yeah,
day, it was like, oh my god, this is
yeah.
amazing.
Back in the day, it was, yeah. I'm sure it was just amazing, like
Yeah,
having that experience because it was one of a kind
it was.
back then. EverQuest really defined the whole MMO genre.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that's what WoW was, based a lot of their stuff off of. So, and I don't know I don't know what else are you excited for about the game.
I mean, really, one of the main things I'm mostly excited for is just bringing back the old school elements because I didn't really get to experience them in their entirety since I pretty much started on WoW. Like I said earlier, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't get to play with all these like super hard monsters that you had a group with all the time just to go out and adventure in the world, and the world was so always wanting to kill you. It's not like that how it is now. So that's kind of something that I want to experience. And then having all these tools kind of taken away from you, like not having a mini map or just a map in general, not having that
Mm-hmm.
at your hands, it really
Mm-hmm.
forces you to be more immersed in the world and not just following from point A to
Breadcrumb
B
trail.
to C to all these this
Yeah.
theme park style is what they call it now. Yeah, I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm most excited for because it's definitely going to be a new take on an MMO for me, and I think that's really what it's going back to kind of revitalize the MMO genre.
Mm-hmm.
Is to go back to the roots and just kind of do them in a different way this time, at least in a more modern way, like you were saying. Because all the
Yeah.
MMOs coming out now currently, it's just derivative off of WoW, and WoW was
Mm-hmm.
derivative in and of itself.
Because it's the most
So
popular. Yeah.
exactly, and WoW was derivative off of itself, off EverQuest and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a derivative. It's just everything is just
Yeah.
building off of one another, and none of them are making their own risks and taking their own their own challenges that they're trying to face. So,
Mm-hmm.
and even Brad McQuaid was saying that now is probably the best time to launch an MMO like this because it's just all these old school players are now getting like older, and they're like, man, all these current MMOs kind of suck, and they're
Yeah,
so
it's not holding their
easy.
attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and exactly, and so they're like, what about us? We feel like we're kind of orphaned,
Yeah.
is what he said. And I
Yeah.
totally
That's another
agree.
great thing. Yeah. Another great thing about the game though is that they are making a game that's appealing to kind of a niche group, which I mean, it has its pros and cons, but I think that's a good thing. They're not trying to appeal to everybody, um, and that's why we are getting more of a hardcore MMO, one that's more challenging. And I think that's desperately needed in the market because most MMOs are just, they're pretty casualized for the most part. If they usually have at least one aspect of the game that's casualized.
Hmm.
But this game's really appealing to the hardcore gamers, the ones that are actually looking for a challenge, looking for something, that they can't just blow through in a couple days.
Yeah, exactly. And when you have an MMO that, or just a game in general that is so casualized, where it's appealing to a very, very broad audience, is that it's really the jack of all trades but master of none. So it falls
Yeah.
short. It's just like a big ocean that's very shallow. And
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly how it is. So that's my hope for Pantheon is that they're taking it back and they're making it,
Yeah. Back to grassroots. Yeah.
exactly like a very deep ocean, and it's just, and you can't appease everybody either. So
Mm-hmm.
them saying specifically that we have this target audience, we're wanting to do this, it automatically kind of gives me hope that the game's going to turn out pretty good, just
Yeah.
because of they're not
More
trying
focused.
to, yeah, exactly, more focused. They're not trying to appeal to everybody. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely excited about that. I
Yeah.
think so far it's going good.
Yeah, I have faith. especially in the team. They seem really passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah, they do.
They're working a lot with the community. I see that a lot. They are very interactive with the community,
Yes, they
and
are.
that's
Yeah.
something you don't really see very much. These guys will comment. They'll reply on comments on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They go around to their forums. They'll be on Twitch.
Yeah, I had Brad McQuaid to respond to one of my comments. I mean,
Yeah.
we're best friends now, but
Yeah, basically.
don't want to brag.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, they're just, they're really passionate and they show that they care. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they'll succeed, but I mean, it's definitely, a step in the right direction.
So you said that doesn't mean that they will succeed. So what do you think will happen if they? What do you think will happen if they don't succeed? Like, what I mean by that is, do you think there's any way for them to not succeed now? I mean, they're gonna push the game out, regardless, right? And they don't need any more funding.
They're too far in.
Yeah, they're too far in. So basically, they push the game out, and and the nice thing is that they're funding it by themselves. They don't have publishers like they had in Microsoft or Sony Online Entertainment when they're doing Vanguard, and had them putting their fingers in everything and messing it up. So, I mean, if they do fail, it will just be they released the game and they didn't get enough players, and then there won't be any more expansions, and then eventually no more support.
Yeah, it'll just flop. Yeah.
So, yeah. So even it wouldn't be that bad, even if they did fail, for us, for the players at least.
Yeah, exactly. Because we'll have it.
Yeah, we'd still get at least something at the bare minimum, but we don't want that, of course.
Obviously, yeah, we want this game to go above and beyond.
Right.
Its expectations. So hopefully they're on the right course, and I can tell they're taking their time with it too.
Definitely.
Which is, it's definitely a good thing. I don't want this to be rushed. I don't want it to release with bugs or glitches.
Yeah.
Or mechanics not fully implemented or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. And when I was younger, I was always like, man, I want this game to come out now. I want it now. I don't care. I want I want this beta now. Now that I'm a little older, I'm like, okay, I really want the game to be good, because I've had so many flops.
Yeah.
Like they get pushed out way too early. It had something that had potential, and it got pushed out way too early, and it's just too late to fix it. So first impressions really are everything now. Definitely now.
And actually, especially one of the biggest examples of that would probably be Warhammer.
Yeah, Warhammer
Online. That game was super rushed.
Yes, it was. I like that game a lot too. I played it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, like, it had its audience,
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it just kind of fell on its face.
Yeah, it did. They went out of business too. I remember that.
Yeah.
They shut everything down.
Mm-hmm. So that's why we're basically excited for this game. Those are the main points, at least. I mean, there's all kinds of things, really, but
right, and we'll bring them up as time goes on.
Well, what race and class are you looking forward to playing as of right now? I know there's a lot of info that's going to come out later, but just based off of what you can see on the website and what you have read about certain classes, about certain archetypes, what would be your preferred combo?
I gotta say, I might go with human. I mean, if you look at the website and you look at human, it looks like Brad McQuaid, so
looks like Brad.
I gotta play that.
Yeah, he put himself right there.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Stuck that in.
His ego is way too big. We gotta. So I'm probably human. There's either human or orc. I kind of like orc. If I was gonna play orc, or ogre, I'm sorry. If I was gonna play ogre, I'd probably go warrior. I think because I really do like tanking and stuff like that, and having that defined role, and you really needed. But if I was gonna pick another class and race, it'd probably be either the Archai or the Dark Mirror, and I'd like to do a summoner, depending on how.
I believe it's Dark Mirror.
Dark Mirror. What did I say? Mirror.
Yeah, that's why I said before too. But
the Dark Mirror,
it's like,
man.
Like Mirror, like Merfolk. Like, I don't know. That makes sense.
That does make sense because they look a little aquatic. But summoner, I think, just from what I've read and heard about, the summoner looks pretty cool. But we'll see, because a lot of the classes, they don't really have much on them. you know.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
not a whole lot to go off of.
right, and I'm someone who likes to make decisions when I get more information.
Definitely.
What about you?
Well, my favorite class, the monk, has already been kind of revealed for the most part.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's my favorite fantasy archetype, so of course I'm just going to gravitate towards that. Um, but everything I saw from the streams that Co did with the developers, it made me really interested in playing this class. They're just like EverQuest monks, where they're the main polar, and they have Feign Death mechanic, which I'm not too big of a fan on Feign Death on monks.
Why?
Like flavor wise,
Wait.
mechanically it makes sense, but flavor wise, I don't think it makes too much sense.
Why doesn't it make sense flavor wise?
Well, the way they explain it is, well, the monk can control every part of their body, um, to the point where they can just like stop their heartbeat and play dead for a little bit. And I understand that. I mean, that does make sense, but I feel like Feign Death would be more suited for someone like a ranger. Because if you think about it, there's animals in the wild that can feign death, like possums, for example. And rangers are kind of attuned to nature. They have animal companions. So I don't know. To me, it would make more sense for a ranger to have it.
Yeah, I think I agree on that.
Now I do have kind of I do have kind of an idea as a replacement, I guess, for feign death for monks. That would essentially have the same effect. You just reflavor it. So, for example, it'd be something called like pacify. So the monk would go into this meditative stance, and there'd be an aura that goes around them, and enemies that are close by or come up and running after aggroed stop, and they just kind of stand there, and they don't want to fight. It kind of gives them a feeling like they don't, like, why would I want to try to hurt this guy? Like, I want to smoke a blunt with them or something. Like, it just gives them this aura of like peace around them, to where they either, like, maybe there's a very small chance that they actually drop their weapons, or they just kind of stand there and go, I'm not gonna mess with this guy, and just kind of like walk away. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, so they do have to, because the whole point of pulling is to get them to come to you, and then you tag one, and then the rest go away. So
so you aggro them. Yeah, you aggro them, and you come up, and then you do that stance.
Don't you think the Feign Death is just kind of a tribute to EverQuest 1 as well, though?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, they are appealing to that, those fan boys and girls, I guess, of EverQuest.
Right.
Which makes sense. I mean, this game, they took a lot of stuff from EverQuest. So I think we'll even see in the other classes a lot of similar things that we saw in EverQuest. But I do wish that they would just try a little bit harder, just to try to, like I said, like reflavor it, or just kind of give it a new coating, just so it's not the exact same thing from EverQuest.
Yeah.
I think that would be more beneficial, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not an EverQuest player, so I can't, I'm just thinking of new ways that they could do things, rather than just sticking completely to just the old mechanics.
And I think that a lot of the people that will be playing this game are not EverQuest players, really.
You don't think so?
I really don't think so.
I think a lot of people from EverQuest will be playing this.
I do think a lot of people from EverQuest will be playing, but I really think the majority will just be people wanting a new MMO, and then maybe they're tired of WoW, and
there will be
stuff.
Yeah, that is true. I talked to a few people before about Pantheon, and these are people who, they really only had World of Warcraft experience, or that was basically the extent. They didn't really try anything else. But even they are like looking for something new, and they saw this game, was like, oh, this looks cool, and so they're looking into it.
Yeah, because even some of the most casual players understand the problems that are in present MMOs and stuff, and then you get online, and you're supposed to be interacting with people, and it's just really taken away. So it's actually kind of a good thing that happened, because then things like Pantheon can come out and revitalize the genre, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, can't be completely certain right now. I always have some skepticism, but so I definitely think that a lot of the players will be from old school WoW, like vanilla WoW players and stuff like that. I know on the vanilla WoW servers, the private servers that are out right now, a lot of them are even talking about Pantheon and new MMOs that are coming out to kind of give them that original MMO feeling, at least to what they were used to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I fall in that category. So something like this will definitely even take it back a little bit further and give me a totally brand new experience.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, something new, something refreshing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see if it actually comes to fruition.
Right.
So I don't know. But yeah, that's the whole thing about the monk. That was my class.
Is there any other classes that you really want to play?
Well, I don't know really. Ranger seems kind of interesting, like maybe a halfling ranger or something. Shamans are pretty interesting. They basically just a healer or healing class, but it's like I think they have debuffs.
Yeah, they do.
Buffs and debuffs. Yeah, I don't know. I think that would just be a interesting take on a healer, rather than just the stereotypical like cleric.
You know, a wizard might be interesting. I could possibly like I don't know, an archive wizard or something like that. I don't. That's the problem, man. Is that we don't really have too much information on all these classes, so it's kind of like
Over the races, because there are going to be racial features
for each class.
Not for each class, no. Like
just
every race will have
for that race, kind of like 5 more Constitution or whatever have you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they'll have their racial traits.
And we weren't revealed that information, right? That's not.
Yeah, no, they're still working on it. Obviously, I mean, you can guess some of them, like the Dark Mirror. I'm sure are gonna have something where they can either breathe longer underwater or just like breathe underwater.
Probably better tuned to something as well.
Yeah, so and they'll be attuned to all kinds of stuff. The Archive have to do with the elements.
To be attuned to frost, to ice.
Yeah, because of their
background and completely traditional.
Yeah. No, that's not traditional.
What? That's
traditionally from ice? No, they're stone people.
Yeah, live in the mountains where it's cold.
Oh yeah, I guess. But I mean, traditionally, dwarves have always there was a lore about they were crafted from rock, and then they were given flesh and blood and shit. Out.
Interesting. What do you think about the human being able to play literally every class, even the necromancer and the bard that aren't even out yet?
Yeah, that's fine. I think it's fine because it's like anything with humans in it. They're just the generalists. They can do anything.
But don't you think that maybe takes away from other races? I feel like that might take away from other races that have you want to play I don't know, like a dire lord, leave that to just the specific races that are slightly evil in their alignment or chaotic, whatever you have.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's my thing is that I believe the humans are actually going to be neutral.
Okay.
They're not going to be good or evil. They're just going to be neutral, which is why they can be every class. I noticed with the Dire Lord, only the evil races can be a plus human. So I'm assuming if you are to be a Dire Lord a human, you're most likely going to have to be evil, or maybe just stay neutral or something.
Yeah, everybody, human can be everything. Looks like a lot of the races can be a warrior too. The only race that can't be is a gnome.
Right, that makes sense.
That does make sense, especially if warriors are going to be possibly the main tank. That you're going to want to have more races being able to play a kind of a critical role in that too. So
Yeah.
it's more than just lore. It's actual game mechanics in a sense too.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Man, I want to see how Necromancer turns out.
Yeah, and Bard would be really interesting too.
Bard. See, I feel like they left the two of the coolest classes out of the game.
Yeah, I mean they're really popular and they're really in high demand, which is why they're even considering putting them in either at launch or after.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean it's just a matter of time. We will get them.
Yeah,
So I can see that being like a future update or something or a patch or something.
yeah. Hopefully they don't push it into an expansion.
Yeah, I
'Cause
wouldn't want that.
yeah, I wouldn't want that. Might be waiting a little too long.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean all the classes. I'm sure they'll be pretty similar to what we expect for all the classes. Um, the only thing is, I'm wondering. I mean, there are some differences, I guess, because the cleric can wear plate armor,
Yep.
heavy plate armor, plate woven raiment. Um, was that in EverQuest too? Did clerics wear plate?
Yeah, I believe so.
They did.
I
Like,
don't fucking.
yeah, I know you don't.
I don't
You
fucking
said,
know. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure though. That's like kind of the stereotype of clerics is that they wear plate armor, heavy armor, and they can heal.
yeah,
They're tanky. They don't do much damage, but then they offer a lot of survivability to the rest of the party.
but
And
yeah,
then
for some reason,
paladin.
I always think of the priest from World of Warcraft. Why?
What about the priest?
That they don't wear plate; they wear fucking cloth.
Yeah, but a priest from WoW is more like just like pure healing class that actually has some damage, and then
Oh yeah, they can.
you know
They
I
kind of
don't I
spellcaster basically.
yeah they don't really have any. The cleric has to be the main healer in this game. I can't see anybody else doing a lot of heals other than the shaman and druid.
Yeah.
And the shaman and druid, well, we don't know about the druid, but we know the shaman has a pet and he has a lot of more utility spells with debuffing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think the tank or the cleric will be the main healer.
Yeah. You can see that.
And then
I don't
hopefully
know.
the cleric will be like the main healer, and then the paladin
Be
can
like
do
holy,
some
holy
heals,
damage.
but maybe has more like buffs coming out of him. Because
Yeah.
that's the problem what they have. They have 12 classes right now, 14 if you include the
Mm-hmm.
bard and necro. And each one of these classes has to play their own specific role. They have to have something that they bring to the table that makes them unique
Mm-hmm.
in and of themselves.
Yeah. So they're all played. Otherwise, a lot of them be
Exactly, they're
left
all
out.
played and they're all needed for certain dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
Every
Yeah.
class has to have something. When you're in the world and you get in your class, it feels good to have people message you or see you and say, "Hey, can I get this buff? Hey, you want to join
Mm-hmm.
us because we need you to unlock this, or if you're a rogue, throw us a rope to climb up this, etc." So, and I was really
Mm.
surprised to see that about the rogue, how they could scale walls and then
Yeah.
put down a
Oh yeah,
rope.
climbing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Climbing is a skill in the game.
Mm-hmm. And,
Um.
and then you have some dungeons that they have a lot of climbing, and you
Right.
don't absolutely, maybe you don't absolutely need a rogue, but having them in there would just make everything so much easier.
Yeah. Smoother. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll probably have a good amount of party members that um, their climbing skill is like really low,
Yeah.
so they can't scale very easily. So you have a rogue that's obviously like the skill's way up there, and they just climb it and drop ropes, and yeah, it would just work out. So that would give them another reason to be there, other than just stabbing shit with their daggers.
Yeah, because that's boring, man. Especially when we're throwing it back to these kind of old school MMOs. I think when we were talking about putting like a modern wrapping on it is just getting every class to kind of be involved in the world and help each other out, so everything's connected.
Interdependency, yeah.
And that's one thing I like to point out about these modern MMOs coming out, is that back in the day, or what should I say, nowadays, is that you don't mean much to the actual world. Back in the day, you weren't the center of attention. You were just like a small cog in this big machine, and it didn't really matter until you grouped up with all these people and actually did something, you know?
Yeah.
And that's I absolutely think that's what an MMO is all about. It's not making you a special snowflake. It's about grouping up with everybody and
it's
doing
about
something to impact the world, because you're not some Superman or whatever.
Yeah, it's about the forest, not the tree.
Yeah,
basically.
That's a good. I got to think about for a second. Yep, it's very true.
So yeah, I mean that's everything. Why I'm excited for it. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add?
I guess we kind of covered on everything. I mean, we were just kind of doing an introduction and kind of why we are excited and interested in Pantheon on this episode.
It's our very first episode, so.
Very first episode. Complete rough draft. Only get better from here.
Yeah. Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share it to all your friends, your mom, your dad.
Yeah, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat.
Everything.
Yep.
Arriving near a town near you coming up. But I think that's everything that I kind of wanted to add, just for kind of the first topics that we were discussing today. Just why we're interested, what kind of class, race we wanted to play, stuff like that. So I'm good. I don't have anything to add. You want to close out?
Yeah, I think that's it, man.
All right.
For the first wrap.
Yeah, first wrap. This is Brad once again, and joining me is Andrew.
Yep, as always.
As always, thanks for listening to us. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Hear from us again. All right. See you guys.